Oh, sorry. Can you hear us, Vivian?
I can. Thanks for letting me in.
We are live streaming, and I'm going to hand it over to the chair.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we would like to recognize that collectively we are on the unceded territories of all the First Nations within our regional boundaries. Could I have an approval of the agenda, please? Moved and seconded. All question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried.
Okay, sorry. We'll just have to remember to add that late item on the additional late business. That's fine.
Okay. Consent agenda. Moved, seconded.
Chair,
Yes.
Mac, may we please remove the select funds report, item 3.2.1 from the consent agenda?
Okay, where do you want to put that, Kristen?
We will add that as 5.4.
5.4.
5.4? Thank you.
Right. Okay, that was moved and seconded. All question, all in favor, opposed was carried. Now we're off to business arising from the minutes. I don't believe there was any or is any. Staff report.
Actually, Chair Mac, sorry, I did have something business arising from the minutes. If I can just go ahead and mention it now. I read about the signage, the civic signage, and the option for residents to purchase at cost civic signage that conforms with just what we want to see. And I'm wondering, are we going to advertise this or send a notice with the taxes, or what's the plan for letting the constituents know that we're offering this service?
Maybe we could have, Kim, do you want to enlighten us on this, where we're at?
Yeah, so through the chair, there will be another report coming back with respect to civic addressing. So there were a couple of resolutions that came out of that meeting. And so we will be bringing reports back with bylaws, and at that time we'll have more of those sorts of details worked out.
You okay with that, Vivian? You're muted.
So we would expect to see something about this like at the next board meeting, or what sort of a timeline are we looking at, Director Needham?
It's likely, if it's not at the next board meeting, it'll be in April.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on now to staff reports and other business. Welcome, Craig. Your first CAO verbal update.
Thank you very much, and it'll be very brief. I'm
Very
very
good.
pleased to be here.
And we're very pleased to have you.
So do we work our way through this and move on to 5.2? Is that the process, or I'm just not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, we'll just move on to 5.2 now. So thank you, and like I say, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Looking forward to getting things done. So 5.2, 2022-2026 budgets. Are we gonna have Suzanne or anybody give us a report or an update on this?
Oh, that would be a question for Ms. Helmer.
Through the chair, yes, we have Ms. LaFrance here to join us. I'll be happy to admit her. Thank you.
Do we have a hard copy? Detailed budgets or what? No,
Good morning, Suzanne.
let's see what Suzanne says. I'm not sure.
Good morning.
How are you? So we're looking at the 2022 draft budget notes.
All right, let me
So is
just
there
get,
anything you'd like to let us know about?
yeah. I'll just share my screen, just 1 sec. I'm just getting set up. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the first list that you see on these meeting notes are the EAD service budgets that were approved at the last meeting, February 9th, 2022. However, there's just a few changes that I want to present to the EAD today on 2 of them, which is building inspection services and emergency planning. So 1400 is the schedule number and 1761 for emergency planning. So the building inspection services requested additional software expense of $10,000 for electronic building permits. So there's a requirement now that we submit our building permits electronically. And so there was a request just for additional software to assist in that process. The highlighted changes on this budget, I'll just go to this actual budget, are here. So that's the software on under line 50410. It's highlighted yellow at the bottom. And then the compensation, the offset to that was the transfer to reserves was just reduced. So there's still a very healthy transfer to reserves in 2022 of 262,528. So that is the only change with that service budget. Is there any questions from the EAD committee on that change in that budget?
Yeah, Vivian, go ahead.
Suzanne, sorry, when you put up your screen, it's so small on my little screen here. I can't read the numbers, and I need you to make a reference to the page number. I don't care if it's the page, well, actually the page number of your report would be helpful, just so I can keep up with you. Thank you.
Sure. So on page 4 is the $10,000 addition for the software, and that's underlined 50410 at the bottom. And then the next page, page 5, shows the transfer to reserve change. That's highlighted yellow as well, under 53,000.
Thanks.
And Sal, did you have a question?
Go ahead,
No,
Sal.
just a comment. I'm really glad to see the electronic building permits. It is so badly needed, especially for our area where we're 3.5 hours away and mailing is tough. And I know we're also going to on the payment side where people can do it electronically. So we're really finally get to the point where we can have the transactions done electronically. Very pleased to see all that.
Very good,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Al.
All right, so we'll go to emergency planning. I'm just going back to my notes. So the forecast figures were updated for the emergency planning salary expense. There was an additional special appreciation given of $8,278 for overtime hours that were worked but not paid. And the 2022 requisition now shows a 14.5% increase. However, the residential tax rate decreases in comparison to 2021. So on average, $1 million home pays $3.40 less. So really, it should be very similar taxation for the emergency planning from 2021 to 2022. And of course, these averages, when I say on average, it depends on each individual's home, whether they increased with the average or they might have increased greater than the average. And then that would affect their tax rate. So homes that increase greater than the average may see a slight increase in this service. And then we'll go to the budget, and that is page, oops. It starts on page 9, Vivian. So I've adjusted the requisition rate, that's highlighted yellow. And that is the salary adjustment. So those are the only two major adjustments completed on this budget. There was some small minor forecasted figure adjustments, but nothing of substance.
Any questions from anybody? Yeah, Vivian, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair Mac. Suzanne, I just didn't understand that reference about the extra money pay. I mean, and I know the emergency staff did massive amounts of overtime and an amazing job, but why didn't we just pay them overtime? Why is there not? Why is there a special budget for that? I didn't get that.
There's certain staff that are exempt from overtime pay, even though they work a lot of overtime hours. And those are management staff.
Okay, got it.
Okay, thank you for that.
And the 5-year plans are also in the package. So for both the failed building inspections and the emergency planning. And these are preliminary budgets based on current work plans. So they're apt to change in next year's round, but we're required to have a 5-year plan. So that's why they are there. Any questions on these budgets? And this at the end of the emergency planning is just a project listing because there's so many different projects. So you can see the revenue and expenses per project on this page. It starts on page 16 for emergency planning. And if there are no objections to these budgets, we should reconfirm to the board that they are approved by the committee.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we're on to 5.3, which is a request for decision zoning amendment bylaw number 1752, 2022 electoral area B agricultural zone updates. Would you like to speak to this, Vivian?
Thank you, Chair Mac. And just for our new CAO's information, agriculture is like the most important thing that's going on in Area B. It's like the top. And we have a very active AAC, and we've spent a lot of time on these bylaws, and we're trying to have them just the way we need them to be for Area B. Minimal regulations for the farmers, allow them to do their job. This is all excellent. There's one. It's on 2.4, I think. I'll find the page if we're working on the same pages. Where they're all laid out, the AAC recommended this and the staff recommended that. When you get up to 0.4, everything is good except for this one, 2.4, and would like to go with what the AAC recommended, which is do not require farm status for secondary farm residences to be permitted, comma, as farm status is not an effective way to capture farm activity. That's what the discussion was about at the advisory, and I agree with what the AAC recommendation was. And so with that change, I can recommend everything else as is presented in this report.
Okay, so that change then has been noted.
And from where I'm sitting, I'm not seeing any staff here to present on this, but I've got to say that the staff have done a lot of really hard work to get us here. And, oh, okay. I see A.O. Helmer, so I'll be quiet.
Can we just make that change?
Yeah.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Through the chair, we do have Director Needham in the room, as well as Ms. Mackay online, who could be admitted if you would like staff to talk to this.
Would you like staff to talk to this, Vivian?
No, I think the positions are pretty clear, and there was quite a bit of time spent on it at the AAC. So my recommendation is, or my resolution is to support this report absolutely as written with appreciation, except for item 2.4, where I would like the AAC's recommendation to be what goes forward to the board. And I can read it again, but I think, is it clear?
Yeah, that's good. So you're moving your resolution. Tony's going to second it. I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we go on to 6, director's reports, chair's verbal update.
Sorry to interrupt. We have 5.4 select funds.
Oh,
So that,
sorry. Hang on. Let's go back to that. Yeah, so we're going to go to back or just carry on to 5.4 select funds. Vivian, you wanted to speak to this?
Thank you. I'd like to make a few changes in the Area B select, but I'm wondering in the general select, when we have a balance there of over $40,000, I'd like to have a discussion with the other area directors about some ways to use some of that money or divide it up, or I just don't want to see it sitting there not doing anything. I'm quite happy just to divide it by 4 actually and put it into our A, B, C, and D. I'll float the idea. I'm wondering about, I want to do something for Director Macrae, and in his honor at probably Pavilion Lake, recognizing some of the birds and the lake, and maybe work with parks and have an educational sign, et cetera. I've talked to his wife, Linda, about this. She thinks it's really a good idea. So I think I'm just asking, is this something that we do out of general select? I'm perfectly happy to take it out of area B as well, but, so that's my first question.
Okay, Tony?
I have no problem with doing something in Mickey Macri's behalf. I think that's a good idea. I think that should come to the board. I think that should come from the SLRD as a whole, not just from the area directors. Because Mickey sat on this on the board, and so I would fully support something. A couple of other comments. You know, I have some things in select funds that I want changed as well. I sent Suzanne an email and asked her to take care of it. And I think that's your route as well, Vivian. Anything in area B that you want changed, deal directly with Suzanne. Then with regard to the general select, I would prefer it to stay there as it is until, you know, we can by all means give us the four of us a nudge and say, can you come up with a way to spend that, but I don't really want to try and come up with something just off the top of my head today, and I don't really want it split up into four things. But if the rest of you want to do that, then I'll take my 10 grand, sure. So to summarize that, I'd rather leave the select the way it is, and for us all to have in mind that it is there, and try to think of something that we could use it for. Anything for Mickey, we take that to the board, and I think that should come from maybe general government or something like that. And then our own concerns about our area select funds, we deal directly with Suzanne. So not really any argument with anything you said, Vivian, but thank you, Jeff.
Should I follow up on that? Or I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me, Vivian, or no?
I can now. So thank you. Thank you, Director Rainbow. And that sort of covers what I had on General Select. I hear you loud and clear on Area B Select, in the sense that things like the fact that the cleanup of the illegal dumping up to $1,000, for example, we've spent that money. There's some left over. It's just sitting there. So I can tell Suzanne, delete that entry and put what's left over back into the general Area B fund. That's just housekeeping. I don't need to run that by this board, if I'm understanding that. Okay. I see hands.
Okay, Kristen, go ahead.
Thanks,
I
Chair.
see you, Sal.
Typically, we get resolutions if you want money returned. So which items, I'm just looking at your select funds, Director Birch Jones. So that is, help me here, which item is it?
Sure. The first one is from the June EAD, the allocation for Barbara Hillocks. They cleaned that up at a reduced price, and so that $824 that's left over can be returned. That's the first one to the my general.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, we'll do a resolution for that. Yep.
Okay, I'll move that then, Chair Matt.
Okay, Tony's going to second it.
Well, I've got a question first.
Okay.
Because I got some things changed without any resolutions. So, you know, if we approve, say, up to $2,000 for something, and only 1,500 is spent, why do I need a resolution to put that 500 back into available funds?
But was it up to, or was it a total amount for that?
No, it's up to, you know, if we approve an amount of money and we don't spend it all, why do I need a resolution to put that back into?
Yeah, sorry, if it's an up to, it might be the practice not to do a resolution. If that's, if it's a up to amount, then it could be the practice of the Director of Finance not to require a resolution. She just takes care of it. So sorry, I'm not
Yeah, so I
familiar with
I just
that.
said to Vivian, she didn't need to do this, but it sounds from what you're
Well,
saying.
no,
she
I'm
does.
sorry. I'm just trying to, I'm reading now, it does say up to, so it could be, and I'll take Ms. Helmer's input here. It could be that the Director of Finance will just deal with it directly.
Yeah, I'd like that answer because I just sent Suzanne some requests to do things, and I don't really want to wait till next month to do that again.
We do also still have Director LaFrance in the waiting room if the committee would like her admitted so that she could explain her requirements in relation to when we need to have a resolution and when we don't.
That would be good.
Yes, please, let's do that.
Admitting now, thanks.
Hi, Suzanne. Tony's got a question for you, and it affects all of us, so I'll get him to ask you that question.
So, Suzanne, I just told Vivian that she didn't need to bring things to us about her select funds. But now we seem to think, well, maybe she does need to bring it here, then we need resolutions. So the best way for me to ask you, I guess, is I sent you an email this morning, or yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, about my select funds. So can you act on my requests there, or do those requests have to be in the form of resolution through this committee?
I don't know if it has to be, but in the past, we have put them through as resolutions. So we've only been acting on, you know, when there's a resolution saying that you can bring this back to the available balance. Those questions, yeah, they've always been through a resolution.
Okay.
But
So
I'm not 100% if that is a requirement, but it does serve us a lot easier that way. Just staff knowing how to complete these reports.
Okay.
Thanks for beaming back in, Suzanne. So then I do need that resolution, right? To move that allocation back into, I forget the wording, general budget, you said, or area B, to the available balance in area B. Thank you. So I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Okay, Tony's going to second that, and I'll call a question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Sal, you've been waiting there and waiting there.
Yeah, thank you. On the general select, we actually last year used quite a bit of it once we found out what it was all about. And, you know, I think moving forward, depending on what happens, like we've funded food banks, you know, we funded that trail and so on and so forth. I would not like to change it the way it is. And if, you know, if somebody wants to change it, I think we wait till after the election that's coming up so that the new directors can move it forward if they want. But I like it to stay the way it is right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Sal. Yeah, and I tend to agree with Tony and Sal on that. I think we should just leave that general select the way it is. It's there to be used if we all agree on what it needs to be used for. So Vivian, go ahead.
Thank you. And I appreciate you taking the time to comment on the general select, and I hear you. So the next resolution I need to make on Area B select funds is the mail out costs for the Seton Fire Services notice. I've asked about this before. Apparently that letter went out and I asked to see a copy of that letter and I still haven't actually seen it. However, the letter has gone and I would like to return the outstanding balance there, the unspent monies back to the available balance in select area B. I'll make that resolution.
Okay, I'll second that. And I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
I have one more, Chair Mac, and then I will be quiet.
Very good.
The District of Lillooet, so this is from the January EAD. I committed $1,600 as leverage funding to an application we were making to connecting seniors and the community through sound projects. And I'm really happy to say that we were successful in that grant application for 14,000 plus from Service Canada. So I'm asking about, do I need to do anything to direct that money to the District of Lillooet or the rec center? What's the next step in the process? Do they ask our finance department? And I'm really happy Suzanne's here to say, here's what we got. And so now we need those leverage fundings. Or what happens there? Thank you.
I'll just answer that for you, Vivian. So we do just require some backup. So if the society can forward us that grant of approval backup, we can then flag off that all conditions are met and we can send in those funds.
Thank you.
But it would to either myself is probably the best person to send it to.
Okay, got it. That's all I had, Chairman.
So Suzanne, I guess I need to make 4 resolutions now to cover the things that I had in that email to you. And unfortunately, I don't have my computer here, so I'm going to have to do it from memory. But maybe you could forward that to Kristen so she's got the exact wording. If I do them separately, the first one is we allocated up to $2,000 for repairs to the walkway at Furry Creek. Staff only used $1,500, so there's a $500 balance. And I'd like that a resolution that we move that back into available funds.
Okay, I'll second that. And I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
One down.
Second one is $5,500, which that one I believe was the right of way at the Jack Webster Bridge. BC Hydro right of way, or was that Suzanne, what is the $5,500 one?
So the $5,500 was Britannia Beach Dock 10-year application.
Oh, that's right, sorry. So this was, I don't know, 4 years ago or something like that. We may need it, so we passed that. So what I feel now is we put that back into available funds, and if we do need some money, when that eventually gets done, then they can come, staff can tell me how much, and then we'll pass a resolution to cover the exact amount. So my resolution now is that $5,500 be returned to available funds.
Okay, moved by Tony. I'll second it. Call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried.
And the $5,000, then that was to do with the Jack Webster Bridge. What was that for, that one, Susan? That was the engineering one, wasn't it?
You didn't cite that in your email. Let me open up the report.
That one dates back to when Graham Haywood was our project manager, so that's quite a lot. And it's just been sitting there. I have no idea whether, and the bridge is in place now. I have no idea whether they needed any of that money. They certainly didn't use any. So I'd like that transferred back into available funds as well, please.
That was the 10-year, you're right. That was the 10-year assignment.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say that $5,000 was the subject of a staff report by Mr. Lawyer when he was here. And that funding of $5,000 was needed for the surveying costs associated with the Jack Webster Bridge and its placement and footings. There was some grants that were applied for, but there was a need for some leveraging dollars to still proceed with that project. So I think that most, if not all of those funds have been allocated, and that could be something that could be looked at by the finance people and the a review of that, where that Jack Webster Bridge status is at.
Okay, I'm happy with that. I just want some action on it. So if that money is needed, then it should be taken out of there and spent. Otherwise, I want it back in available funds. So do I need a resolution? Maybe not, just to ask staff to report back as soon as possible how much of that they need, please. And then so do we need a resolution on that? Kristen, what?
Sure. Let's do a resolution.
So that was my resolution, and that we asked staff to check that amount and spend whatever they need to spend.
Okay, so moved by Director Rainbow. I'll call question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried.
And then the $2,500 was to do with the right of way for the Jack Webster Bridge. And again, maybe Melanie, you need some of that, but if so, could you just clarify that, Melanie?
Through the chair, yes, thank you. If we could do that at the same time as the 5,000, if you would like, Director
Yes,
Rainbow.
please. Yes, please. So if I need a separate resolution, again, to ask staff to check on that $2,500, and if money is needed to take it, and then just to get it resolved. I don't like it sitting there. It's been sitting there for too long.
Okay, so that's another resolution then?
Yep.
Okay, so moved by Director Rainbow, seconded by Birch Jones. And I'll call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you to
You're okay?
Thank you to Director Birch Jones for yanking that out of the consent agenda and bringing this all to light. So
You saved the day, Vivian.
yes, you did. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, we're caught up now with 5.4. Did you have anything else, Vivian, or not?
I don't, but I'm about that letter. Do I need to make a resolution to ask to see a copy of that letter that went out to Seton about the fire services?
Didn't you see it?
No, she said she didn't see it.
I should have done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a resolution. I'll second it.
Thank you. Just for a copy of the letter that went out to the community of Seton-Chalath about the fire services, just a copy be provided to me, the Area B Director.
Okay, moved and seconded. Call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
My comment would be that that resolution was should have been unnecessary.
Yeah.
That Vivian should have had that copy when that letter went out.
That's rather strangely so how she got missed, but anyways.
And maybe it was sent and I didn't see it. You know, that's completely possible, but I haven't seen it. I would like to.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, on to director's reports, chair's verbal update. I guess the only thing that I would like to see in some of our areas, Sal's and Vivian's, even Sal's and Vivian's, the roads have been causing some serious issues, obviously. And I don't know if that's going to be an ongoing, I mean, we've always had problems with our roads. But it just seems in the last 3 or 4 months, we've had a number of them just back to back and with fatalities from rock slides, debris slides and all this kind of stuff. So that's something we'll have to keep on top of MOT and just see where they're going with this and how many reports they're getting from their geotechs and whatnot, just so that we know what's going on. And I guess the other important thing too is to welcome our new CEO, Mr. Dalton, and it's very nice to have you here, as we've already said. Look forward to working with you. Excellent. Sal, go ahead.
I'd like to comment on the roads issues that we have up here in the northern SLRD. We had a very good meeting on Monday, which is we have a meeting with the MLA, Maudie, Lillooet, Area B, BC Hydro, and Chalath. We have those there 3 times a year. And it just happened that Monday was a regularly scheduled meeting. And I prepared a draft director report regarding Road 40. And at that meeting, there was a draft report that was presented for Jackie Tegger to take to the Parliament. Also, we're taking some of the items that were in my report and some from BC Hydro, what they mentioned. But, you know, looking at the last week or so, we've had so many issues. Duffy Lake Road, Highway 12. I think I'm going to change it a bit, and not only for Road 40, but some of the other roads in our northern region. I think maybe I might work with Vivian on it so that we have a really good resolution that hopefully the board will pass that will go to the ministry. That's my comment. Thank you.
Yeah, very good, Sal. Yeah, for sure. Vivian has to be involved in that discussion. So that's very good. Vivian, go ahead.
And sorry for the noise in the background, but it seems that the combination of that heat dome, that the complete lack of moisture, and then the erratic rains here with all the rotten rock we've got and the steep slopes, it just is unbelievable how many rocks are jumping off the sides of the hills and hitting highways and occasionally a person. It is definitely worse than it's been, and I do believe it's related to climate change. And I really appreciate what Director Demers been doing. I've just sort of been tagging along and going, yes, and would be happy to help with the resolution. So.
Yeah, I think we'll also bring in the District of Lillooet because they're part of the board.
Chalath too, because Rod certainly had some powerful things to say, including the fact that their school children travel Highway 40 in a bus, and that's of concern.
Very good. We'll move on to 6.2, Britannia Beach Pump Track, Director Rainbow.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Can we just get a motion to receive that?
Oh, okay, yep. So moved and seconded. Michelle, call question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Director Rainbow, do you want to speak to 6.2?
Yes, I do. For those of you who don't know what a pump track is, it's just piles of dirt on a relatively flat area, so that children, it's going to be designed for children from the ages of sort of 3 to 4 when they can first get on a bike and ride it, up to about 9 and 10-year-olds. So it's not a serious mountain bike training track or anything like that. It's not intended for teenagers. So it's a relatively simple thing. I met with staff and with volunteers from Britannia Beach at the site. We looked at 2 sites. We decided on one that would be the best one. It's SLRD land. It's under BC Hydro power lines, so it's part of the hydro right of way. So one of the requirements we need is permission from Hydro to go ahead and build it there. But we have no metal structures at all, and that's usually one of their concerns. And the advantage to them of having a pump track under their tracks is that there won't be any vegetation there. And that's another one of their concerns. So I can't see there being any kind of a problem there. Staff have raised the issue of insurance. I'm quite frankly not really, I don't really understand what the concern is there. Yes, it's our land. Yes, there's going to be a playground there. We have another playground right next door, which is also on our land. If you have children playing, then from time to time, someone is going to get a bloody nose or break an arm or something like that. That doesn't mean that, I don't think that means we are liable for anything. As long as we shouldn't be worried about insurance. We should be worried about making sure that we are responsible and that we set the thing up safely. So by all means, we have a playground inspector come and look at it and say, yes, that's okay, or no, that's not. But I hope that insurance worries don't get in the way and block this development. We've got kids now in Britannia. We've got way more kids than you might imagine. Last summer, we had a movie night down in the open air, down in the parking lot of the museum. I couldn't believe the number of kids there were. I knew there were more kids than there used to be, but my goodness me, must have been 35, 40 kids running around there. So where are those kids playing right now? They're playing on SLRD land sometimes. They're riding up and down the roads, which is dangerous. You know, we need this. I want this resolution to go to the board because amenities funds has to be approved by the board. And I guess I'm talking at length like this because I want to underline the fact that I want it this spring, not in 2 years' time. So, end of rant. So I'm moving this as written on the agenda.
Very good, and I'll second it. Yeah, Vivian, go ahead. Before I call the question.
Just that when I read this, I thought it was a lovely idea. And I know that south of Pemberton, they've got a pump track that is under the hydro lines. I thought that was a great use of that space. I hear you loud and clear, Director Rainbow. Kids need to play. I hate about insurance. Our staff, maybe before it comes to the board, we can just do a check that we are not indeed worried about liability, and then I'd be happy to support it.
Yeah, if I could just add a further comment, the reason I'm only asking for $10,000 is because we have a resident of Britannia Beach that has built 50 or 60 pump tracks in different parts of the world, including France and Asia, and he's going to volunteer his time to do it. So we've only got to pay the cost of some materials and a little bit of machine rental. So we get it's a cheap thing.
Sal?
I fully support this project. We need more of this type of infrastructure. And I know the Squamish band in Lillooet is looking to put one in also, right close to where the new bridge is going across the Squamish River. So yeah, I'm totally supportive of this.
Okay, so this has been moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
If I could do a follow-up sort of question from this. The original direction I got from Ms. Helmer was that because it's amenities funds, it should go direct to the board. But my recollection of the last 7 or 8 years is that we've brought amenities funds requests to the EAD. We've discussed it here, and we've made a recommendation that it be carried forward to the board. And I look back and a lot of those things, do the board really want to discuss about a pump track in an electoral area? I don't think they do. And mostly when it goes to the board, it goes in the consent agenda. And it's just doesn't get discussed. So if we're going to make a change, I would be opposed to the idea that we have to take our amenities request directly to the board. I understand why it has to go there for approval, but I prefer it to be discussed here. And if we resolve that it should go to the board, then we take it there. And then it can either go on the consent agenda if it's a relatively minor thing. And anybody on the board has the right to pull it out of there if they want to. But I don't think they want to most of the time. They're not interested. If it's a major thing, if we're talking about $200,000 or $300,000 for something, then yeah, I can see that would be something that the whole board might want to be involved in. But I would just like that an answer on that. Do we bring things to the EAD or do we go straight to the board?
Yeah. Well, no, I agree with you. I think stuff should come here when we're spending or proposing to spend electoral area amenity funds. It should come here for our discussion. And then we either say yay or nay to move it on to the board. And I think it needs to go to the board with the full support of the EAD directors. Then when they look at it, they go, okay, it's their funds that they're spending or proposing to spend, and they're all in total agreement of spending it. So therefore, they should be saying, yeah, that's a good idea. So I agree with exactly what you're saying. Sal, and then Vivian.
Yeah, there's PILT is the same thing. We have a PILT policy now, and I can't remember, and I'm not sure if there's an amenity policy, but whatever direction we go, they should be in those policies. Because with PILT funds, I've gone both ways. Some of them I take right to the board, other ones I take to EAD for approval first. So I think we really need to clear it up. And maybe if we can get staff to look at the policy for the amenity fund and the PILT fund, see what's actually in there regarding just what we're talking about on this topic.
Vivian.
I think my experience has been, I've gotten pretty clear direction from staff. If we're talking about the select fund, then as this EAD committee, we have the designated authority to make those decisions, and we inform the board as a courtesy and in case they, have some questions or good ideas, but at least they kind of know where some money's being spent in the projects. But with PILT, we discuss it at the EAD and then we make recommendations. They have to be approved by the board. That's how I understand it works. I was just wondering, Director Rainbow, if you could check with the Britannia Beach Community Association, because they may very well have insurance for this, and that would certainly be great. Okay.
I thought we had insurance through MIA, but
I'm sure we do.
yeah.
Okay, so we're good with that one. Vivian, you still got your hand up? There you go. Very good, thank you. Okay, we're on to 6.3. And that is House Sound Biosphere Region, Director Rainbow.
Thank you. It's Akatsum House Sound. Akatsum is a Squamish word. Squamish Nation have two names for House Sound. I know this one, Akatsum, which is the name they use for when they're going north to Squamish. And they have another name for when they're coming back down. And I'm sorry, I can't remember that one. But the biosphere region, when it got approval from UNESCO to be a UNESCO biosphere region, it was given the name of Akatsum House Sound, and that was negotiated with the Squamish Nation. So that's how we should refer to it any time that we're discussing it. We should use the whole name. So that just to bring you up on that. If you look at the map of House Sound, you'll see that the longest piece of shoreline is Area D. We go from Lions Bay north to Squamish on the east side of the Sound, and then from Squamish down to the Sunshine Coast on the west side of the Sound. So we are heavily involved with that biosphere region. And they have once you're designated as a UNESCO biosphere, there are then some responsibilities that they have to fulfill. And in 10 years, there will be a re-examination to make sure that we've maintained all the kind of standards that are set out. So right now, there's some work to be done with some collaborative work with bringing people together, bringing different organizations together, and they need some money for it. And I would like to give $5,000 from Area D Select funds to support that work. That's my resolution.
Very good. Moved and seconded. I call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Vivian, do you have something to say? Okay.
Second, it's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now we're off to 7.1, request for funding, Community of Darcy Automated External Defibrillator, AED, annual maintenance cost. And I will move this and to come from Area C Select Funds, $231.56.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 7.2. Request for funding Anderson Lake Park boat launch portable washroom lattice screen. And this here, I want to, this should have been $1,000 with the increase in the cost of materials and everything now. I want to make sure they have enough money to be able to do it. So I want to change that to $1,000 from Electoral Area C Select Funds towards the cost of materials to build the lattice screen around the portable washrooms at Anderson Lake Park, boat launch in Darcy.
I'll second that, Chair Matt.
Thanks, Chair. Just to clarify, it's $1,000, not up to $1,000.
No, $1,000.
And no receipts or no receipts?
I'm sure that, yeah, they can, yeah, receipts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So up to 1,000 then.
Yeah, say up to 1,000. Yeah, with receipts.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll move it. I believe Vivian seconded it. Yes?
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
So I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. 7.3, request for funding, Permanent Secondary Schools Boys Basketball Team, 1A Provincials in Langley, BC. And with this one here too, I want to have that as $4,000 from Electoral Area C Select Funds towards the cost of the team's trip to the 1A Provincials. And they're actually playing their first game, I think, in about 25 minutes. I think they played noon today, the first game. So anyways, yes, I'd like to increase that to $4,000. The check to be made out to the Pemberton Senior Secondary School. And if we could somehow expedite that, I would appreciate that somehow. But I will move that. Tony's going to second it. I'll call the question. All in favor?
I want to speak to the motion.
Yeah. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Go ahead.
All right. I just was, I don't know if you've ever been involved in a high school basketball tournament situation, you know, but when I was principal of a single A school, we made it to the provincial finals, and let me tell you that the whole school, the whole community was just so excited. And I read this, and I'm kind of excited for Pemberton.
Oh, yeah,
really, I was talking to Mike last week. I see M. Richmond, the coach,
Yeah, absolutely.
and he was telling me about what they had to do to get there this week, and clearly they've done it. So I'm really like to congratulate them for that. So
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, it's a really a great experience.
oh, good.
So,
We had, when our team was playing sort of midday, we had somebody this on a phone connection because we couldn't get it on radio or anything. And regular, every 5 or 10 minutes, announcements going over the thing. Teachers didn't care, kids didn't,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
update them with the score. And yeah, that was great.
no, it's a wonderful experience, that's for sure. Something those kids will remember forever. Okay, number 8, decision on additional late business. So would that Pemberton Health Foundation come under that?
Correct.
Okay, so I would bring that up now then?
So.
Or that, we actually put it at 9.2.
Right, so we need a resolution to add it to be 9.2.
Okay, you've got to get approval from all of us
Yeah.
to discuss this.
So I'll make that resolution. Tony's gonna second it.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually Sal wanted to second it also. Yeah.
Maybe I'll vote against it. What the heck?
Okay, so it's going in at 9.2. And that's for the Pemberton Health Foundation. We'll bring that up as we get there. Late business.
Sorry, did you call the question?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much. Late business, this would be 9.1.
I'll have to call a conflict of interest, please.
Yes,
I have to call a conflict of interest as my wife, Debbie, is a board of director on the BRVCA, and my daughter is the bookkeeper. Thank you.
okay, we'll see you in a minute, Sal.
Kick him out.
Yeah.
I'll put Director Demare in the waiting room.
Thank you. Okay, so I will move this request on Sal's behalf. And I'm sure that Vivian will second it.
Indeed, yep. Motion for 4,188 from Electoral Area A Select Funds.
Right. Okay, so moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Sal can come back.
Admitting him now. Thank you, Chair.
Welcome back, Sal. Okay, so now it's 9.2, which is $600 from Area C Select Funds to go to the Pemberton Health Foundation to help pay for a governance symposium that they're putting on to just bring all their directors up to speed on governance. I was at their last meeting and I've been a director on that thing for years and we just kind of flew by the seat of our pants, I'm telling you. And now the new chair is going, no, you can't do it that way. You can't do it. You just can't do stuff like, you know, you can all be held liable. And so we're actually gonna be made smart, I guess. So anyways, I will move that.
Second.
Tony's gonna second it. I'll call a question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Any directors notice a motion? Don't believe so. And this is always Director Rainbow's favorite part of the meeting, so
Move adjournment.
so we allow him to do that. Okay, moved and seconded. Call a question. All in favor,